So one of the things that tends to be difficult about emotional pain is there aren't parameters to put around it. And so I'm someone who I do high intensity interval training at the gym that I attend. And we do AMRAPs and we do EMOMs, and all of that is very time bound. So if I'm doing as many rounds as possible, within 8 minutes, I know that it's only going for 8 minutes. If I'm doing every minute on the minute, so EMOMs, and we're doing 12 rounds of that, I know that at the end of 12 rounds, that particular energy expenditure is going to be over. And so physical health and physical goals, they're very tangible. We can measure them, we can pick starting points, we can pick stopping points. Now, I often have to use this analogy with clients. We can look at physical goals and have lots of clarity on how to have success there. We can't do the same with emotional goals. And that's one of the frustrations, is the process is actually pretty similar. You stay engaged and you push and you push and you push, and on the other side of that, there's some sort of kind of recalibration of emotion that happens. But we don't have defined starting points and ending points. And so a lot of people want to give up in the process because emotional anguish can just be so incredibly tough. And so I use this with clients to say, hey, you might not be able to see the growth that's happening, but I can assure you that if you push through the 12 rounds or if you push through the 8 minutes, on the other side of that is some sort of emotional recalibration. And we're in the process of it. It's just not something where you're experiencing some sort of clarity on when it's going to end. And that's the frustration with grief. That's the frustration with change, with any sort of season where there's some type of hard stuff happening. We don't know when the emotional turmoil is going to end. So one of the things I do with clients is I ask them, okay, can you tell me what a win was just for today? So just recently, I was working with a client and she's having a lot of big shifts happening and some really uncomfortable shifts happening. And she's saying, it's all trash. It's all terrible. I don't like what's happening here. And I said to her, I said, okay, we need to slow it down a minute. Let's grab some pen and paper. What's one thing you did today that you're happy with? And she really couldn't come up with anything. And I said, okay, one of the things I know that you want to be true is you're missing this particular person and you wanted to reach out to them. Did you do that today? And she's like, no. In spite of how aggressively, terribly hard that was for you, you didn't reach out to this person? And she's like, no. That's a win. I said, did you reach out to this person yesterday? And she said, no. Okay, that's a win. Did you reach out to this person the day prior? And she said, no. That's the win. Now, have you been uncomfortable this whole time? Are you riding the roller coaster of emotion? Are you going through anger and frustration? Absolutely. But you're not breaking down on the one commitment you made to yourself, which was to not contact this particular person in your story. And that's a win. That's you pushing through. We don't know when the anguish is over. We don't know when the hard is over. But I do know that if you keep showing up and doing what you're doing now, you're much closer to coming to some sort of new recalibration of your emotions because you're doing the hard work now. Now, physical goals are a great reminder for us that the pain stops eventually, the intensity stops eventually. But emotional pain does not have those types of limitations, but it does stop eventually, or it assuages to a bit, or it at least minimizes its intensity. But that's if you keep showing up in it and you keep pushing forward and you keep saying one more rep, one more rep, one more rep. She has to say, I'm not going to call that person today. I'm not going to call that person today. And she shows up each day in that commitment. And over time, she is building emotional stamina, much in the same way that we build physical stamina. So if you're going through a season of hard, I want you to think through, what's the one win you had today? What's the one promise you made to yourself that maybe you didn't back down on? And call that the win, even if it's difficult. Even if while you're going through this, you feel like you're doing it in an awkward, in a clunky way. It's not refined, it's ugly, it's gritty. Okay, but is there a win? And win after win, whatever that goal is for you, over time will take you to a new place of health, the same way physical goals take us to a new place of health. So hopefully that's helpful today.